All right, guys. Welcome to another edition of Cubs on Tap. I'm your host, Cody. You can follow me on Twitter at Cody on Tap. I'm joined tonight with newest Cubs on Tap Sportsnet contributor. He's been on the show a couple of times. What, second time now? Second time now, Joe?
Third time.
Third time, my bad. Welcome, Joe. You can follow him on Twitter at Joe Maris, Marras. Gotta let the people know.
Yep.
We're here to talk about the Cubs' 12-3 win over those boring motherfuckers in St. Louis. What a time it is to be alive, Joe. I am freaking lit. Today's game was Friday. Awesome. It's Friday.
It's Friday, baby.
Exactly. If you don't have a beer, if you're watching this right now, we got 9 viewers in the chat right now. If you don't have a beer in your hand, then you're doing this wrong. We are demanding you to go get a beer right now and do this right.
Tell you that that eighth inning made the 4 beers feel like 8. Talk about a high.
I agree, man. Dude, I don't even know where to start. So, let's like I said, the Cubs win 12-3. Let's start with Kyle Hendricks because I feel like we always start with the pitching. I think this is now his second consecutive quality start. Third appearance where you're actually feeling really good about him, or third straight appearance where I feel like you're actually feeling good about him. I think the first one was Pittsburgh. He gave up 6 runs, but he was getting, I think they saw on the broadcast, like Babbitt's out the ass by the Babbitt gods were against him, whatever. But you knew he was trending in the right direction. And now 2 consecutive elite starts from a guy that we've been asking for these kinds of starts from Kyle Hendricks. And he showed up tonight, man. And in a hostile environment, I think 20-some thousand in St. Louis. This is the biggest crowd the Cubs have faced all season. I don't, at least this season. Obviously, they didn't face any crowds last year. So the biggest crowd they've faced or had to endure since 2019. Not that it really matters. The players have played big crowds before, but it had to be a little bit of a different vibe, a little bit like holy shit, there's actual people here. Like it had to hit them a little different. But dude, what were your thoughts on Kyle Hendricks tonight?
Well, if a crowd is going to affect anybody, it's never going to affect Kyle Hendricks. So if you had to choose anybody to start the series off in St. Louis, it's Kyle Hendricks. And he gave you everything you wanted. You wish he could have finished 7 innings, honestly. Probably could have, as far as pitch count wise, could have gone much more, but it was probably the right time to take him out. Pitch count doesn't always, indicate what's going on. The middle of the order had some good bats against him, Arenado and Goldschmidt. So you can't really complain about him leaving the game at that point. But I mean, he finished in let's see how many pitches he had. He finished with, 83 pitches and 6 2/3. I mean, he had 1 walk, which was intentional. And other than that, I mean, he did a great job of limiting he gave up some hard contact, but he limited those to keeping them inside the ballpark. I think he gave up 2 doubles, including the Tommy Edman should have been caught, kind of played at Ian Happ. So really only 1 double, some hard contact, but all singles. He's had a problem with the home runs this year. Yeah, so it's nice to see the ball stay in the park.
Right. Yeah. I think you mentioned 1 walk. That's always great. And that's the one thing you can always rely on from Kyle Hendricks is he doesn't walk a lot of people. I know last year him and Yu Darvish were like tops in the league, in the National League at least, and walk rate in terms of like the lowest walk rate. So hopefully he's starting to trend back in that direction. But yeah, no, you're I think you hit it right on the nail, man. He just kind of went out there, went about his business. Through 5 innings, he only had like 55 pitches. At the beginning there, or at that point, I was starting to think, man, like he might go out here and it wouldn't have been a Maddox, but he, complete game was in the eye. I was or in the possibility. I thought, but I think that third time through the order for the Cardinals, they start to get to him a little bit, and then Ross didn't give him that 4th chance, which I was fine with. I mean, you don't want to get, especially when you have a lead right like that and you have the bullpen the Cubs have. I thought even at like taking him out at like, well, it was a little bit more than 80 pitches, but like he just he had it going, but that fourth time with Dylan Carlson coming up, I wasn't mad. What I was a little worried about in that moment when they took Hendricks out was like, okay, Tommy Nance is coming in, and he's shown that he can be a decent arm, but it was literally his third MLB appearance, third appearance, quite literally the highest leverage position he has been in with the Cubs. And he gave up the hit, which allowed the run, which isn't his fault. He comes in and gives up the hit. Like, it is what it is. But then he gets a nice soft grounder from Goldschmidt to Bodie to get out of the inning. I think that if anyone's going to talk about anything about the bullpen, I guess, or, the Cubs keeping that lead, was like Nance getting that out, because the Cardinals, it seemed like they had some momentum building, and again, the bullpen shows up and shuts the door, man. And I can go through the rest of them real quick. I mean, I mentioned Nance. Then Winkler had an inning. He struck out 2 of the 3 batters, and then Wick came in and got a strikeout. He allowed a hit, but he got a clean 9th inning. So, it was just overall, it was just really good stuff. And I mean, on top of Kyle Hendricks, when you have a bullpen like the Cubs have right now, I was looking up today, the Cubs have the 4th best bullpen in as far as ERA in baseball right now at like 3.16. That is cool and tough, folks. If you don't know what is cool and tough, it is the Cubs fucking bullpen, because they are shoving down people's throats right now. And it's like a refreshing thing. I keep telling Ron and Juice this, is like, we didn't have this for like 2 or 3 years. And like, then you hear Boog and JD talking about how the Cardinals bullpen has the highest walk rate in baseball. And I'm like laughing, because fuck them and fuck St. Louis. But like, that was one of the biggest things that was like killing the Cubs. It felt like for like the last 2 or 3 seasons, maybe not so much last year, because I only played 60 games, but like, if you don't count 2020, then you add, like, just think about 17, 18, and 19. What were some of the biggest problems? The Cubs bullpen walked a ton of people all the time, and it hurt them all the time. That's why so many losses that they took were so like heartbreaking. So it just seemed like, I know Justin Steele just hit the IL today, but hell, it might not matter, man. This bullpen is just freaking loaded. I'm pretty confident with anyone who's coming out there right now, man.
Right. And Brad Wick, it's a fitting replacement for Justin Steele, kind of similar, both lefties, could get both lefty and righties out. So, it'll remain to be seen with Brad Wick, but I definitely have confidence in him. And one thing before we get off of pitching is, I tweeted this out, because I saw Hendricks, his spot was due up. I think it was in the top of the 7th. And this is after, you see his pitch count after the bottom of the 6th, and you're like, this is the classic situation we've seen all year so far. We're going to bring in a pinch hitter, and we're going to put it to the bullpen. And I dreaded it. It's coming. I prepared myself for it. And boy, was I pleased to see Hendricks step into the batter's box.
Yeah,
I think,
and then he got the sack bunt down too.
Right. I think Hendricks is the only person he would have kept in the game there. Yeah. I understand it. That needs to change. That's regardless of the point. We could talk about that. That would be something we talk about if the Cubs lost.
Yeah, for sure.
But I was happy to see Hendricks take that out and go out there for the 7th.
We've been talking about in depth that the Cubs need to get more innings out of their starters, and Hendricks has done that in his last two appearances. Now they just got to find that next guy. I mean, I guess Jake Arrieta would be the next guy. He had a bad last start, whatever. I wouldn't even say it was bad. No, it was just, I mean, it was what you would expect out of. Yeah, it wasn't great. And it was basically like what you would expect out of him. He still got you 5 innings, I think, that day. But yeah, if you're talking about getting into the 6th inning, they need to find one more guy who can consistently do that for them. And right now, I mean, I would like that to be Adred Alzolay, but who I believe starts tomorrow. But as long as we're getting one right now, especially with the way the bullpen is and with the way that they just keep calling guys up and they're just coming up and contributing, it's not like the Cubs are destroying their bullpen like we've seen in the past, because there's more than just like 2 or 3 guys. There's like
Mhm.
a slew of them. So you're getting all these contributions out of these guys, and it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world that the Cubs starting rotation is pretty mediocre right now. Like it honestly, it kind of reminds me of the Brewers in 2018. I remember in like 2018, 2019, everyone's talking about the Brewers, and the naysayers were like, well, they don't have any starting pitching, like it's not going to get them anywhere. Well, in 18, they went to the NLCS, and they didn't really like their best starter that year was, I know Zach Davies on that team.
That was when Woodruff really emerged a little bit. So it's honestly probably him.
They might have had Woodruff, I guess, was probably their best pitcher then, but he still wasn't like he is now.
Oh no.
And Zach Davies, I mean, we've watched Zach Davies. I mean, so far you could say Zach Davies has been better as a Brewer than a Cub, but they didn't have any legit at the time, legit starting pitching, and their bullpen was so great with Hader and Jeffress, and they just had all these different arms that could just eat innings for you and come in and pitch multiple innings. And that's why it's kind of like, for me with the Cubs, it's like that's how you're seeing it, because you figured that they're going to run it, like their bullpen was going to die out. But with just like Milwaukee in 18, the Cubs have so many guys in their bullpen right now that Ross feels confident going to, that he's not going to blow someone up. I mean, shit, like Winkler came in tonight, and he probably didn't want Winkler to come in, but he had him warming up anyway because it was close when he probably had him get up. But he could have used Wick made sense because they just called him up, but like just anyone that's, like Dill Maples would have been probably a guy that they would have used instead of Dan Winkler tonight. You know what I mean? If he didn't already have him up, stuff like that. And so, obviously there's a lot of people have been questioning why we haven't used Kimbrel a lot more. And it's like, it's kind of nice that we haven't, if you really think about it, because it just allows him to stay rested throughout the season. Again, we could talk about the trade deadline, but I'm just saying, if trade deadline aside, but like,
this is not the night.
right. Trade deadline aside, like Kimbrel is just, he's as fresh as he could possibly be, I think, right now. And, other guys like Chafin and I keep wanting to say still Keegan Thompson, like we haven't had to use those guys every single night. And I feel like that's what the Cubs were doing in like 17, 18, and 19, because they just didn't have consistency out of everyone. So it was kind of like, I don't know. It was just there's just so much more in the Cubs bullpen that's similar to like the Brewers in 18, that it's kind of like, I can see that maybe that was kind of the route they were going. Didn't see it coming, I promise you, but I like this. I like this way that they went, considering, they knew they gave up their ace starter and they knew they were going to have to pick it up somewhere else, and it's worked out so far. Steven Smart. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say it's definitely not according to plan, but the savior has definitely been multiple innings from relievers like Keegan Thompson, Justin Steele. I mean, those guys have been unbelievable,
right?
Absolutely unbelievable. I know we've mentioned it just texting and group chats. Keegan Thompson is very close to earning himself another start. When that comes, we don't know, but he's definitely getting himself to that spot.
Yeah. Guy on YouTube, Steven Smart, he says Jules.
Right.
I forgot how you say Ulysse. Thank you. Ulysse Chassin had a great year for Milwaukee that year. He did. I remember that. I remember him being like the big joke on Cubs Twitter. Like, how's this guy good? He's been bad his entire career, but he decided to be good in 2018. Right. And then obviously in 2019, I think he probably died or something.
I think he had the worst start of the season in the entire league a couple days ago in Colorado. He gave up like 10 in the first inning to the Giants.
Of course. Is what it is. But yeah, I don't know, man. Anything else on the pitching? I could sit here and freaking talk about this bullpen all night if you really wanted to, but
we've mentioned the Tommy Nance, it was huge. Yeah, obviously you don't want to give up that one hit to Dylan Carlson, but
right.
It was a single. It was, and that was it. And literally, you're seeing him face Paul Goldschmidt. Tommy Nance looks like he's confident on the mound. And that's what we've seen with every single pitcher, is confidence on the mound. And I can get behind that. I can get behind that.
For sure. I mean, I guess that's kind of the pro of him being like a 30-year-old rookie or whatever he is. It's like he has a lot of experience playing the game, and he has to know that's like, okay, this is my big chance to like make something myself in the major leagues, and he's taking full advantage of it. It's kind. I mean, I feel like it's the same thing with Keegan Thompson and Justin Steele. Like, no one was talking about these guys. Maybe like the prospect guys, but like no one in sports media, national media, Chicago sports media, no one was talking about these guys. We are guilty of not talking about these guys.
Course.
I did not know about. I knew about Justin Steele,
right,
but no one told me that he was like gonna be this good. He has been something that like is a blessing that I will.
Definitely.
Like, I just can't explain. And it's like you can say that with a lot of the other ones too. And you just continue to get it tonight. Tommy Nance showed up, as the Bears on Tap guys say, put his fucking meat on the table and fucking shoved the two guys that he faced. He gave up a hit, but he got out of a big jam. And like, I honestly think when he got out of that, I was like, all right, if we can maybe bounce back here, get a run or two, and we'll have the momentum. And that's basically what happened, man, because after they got that run, after St. Louis got that run, the Cubs added 2 more on in the 7th, or unless that happened in the 7th.
No, that was in the 7th.
Was it in the 7th? Okay. That means after they got that run, the Cubs proceeded to put on 8 runs in the 8th inning against the Cardinals bullpen, which, again, I will mention that they said on the broadcast multiple times, they lead baseball in walk rate in terms of like worst walk rate. God, that is a tongue twister right there. I think going into the game, it was like at like 11.8%, which is, I don't know if that's alarming. All I know is that's high.
And boy,
that's like that's a percentage that you would love to see out of your position players, like your leadoff hitter. If your leadoff hitter has an 11.8 walk rate, that's pretty good. You're pretty happy with that. You know what I mean? But you don't want your bullpen to be having that. And that's really, really shocking because the Cardinals, for the better part of my entire life of how much they have just broken my heart and given me lots and lots of heartburn, their one thing that they've always had is pitching. They just develop pitching out the ass all the time. I don't know where it's at so far this year, and it's kind of shocking to me that it's been this bad, yet they're in first place. Maybe a lot of that has to do with the Cubs' slow start. I don't know. But anyway, Cubs put on 8 runs in the 8th. Before that, obviously, I guess before we talk about the 8-run inning, let's talk about Jock Peterson. First pitch of the game, leadoff homer. I tweeted out like an hour or two before the game that I was betting Jock Peterson plus 325 to hit a home run, and he literally did it on the first pitch of the game. And my Twitter mentions blew up, my notifications blew up. It was a vibe. It was awesome.
Right.
So if you rode, thank you. And
similar to that, I've been doing polls, a couple hours before game time, and that was today's poll: is will Jock Peterson hit a home run this weekend?
Yep. Didn't take long, man.
As we've talked about, of course, as we've talked about before, the power was coming, and boy, we saw it. Plus that deep sack fly in the 3rd or 4th inning. So he got the first 2 RBIs of the game for the Cubs. So I mean, we saw it. We're seeing it. The power is there. It's coming.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's coming. He now sits at a 732 OPS, batting 269. Seems like forever ago when he was batting like under 150. Man, he's locked in right now. And quite honestly, I know Kyle Schwarber just hit 2 home runs against us, but I saw Kyle Schwarber's numbers when we were playing Washington. I know he doesn't have the homers yet, but I love the approach. I love his at-bats against lefties.
Right.
We're paying him less than we would have paid Kyle Schwarber. And I love Kyle Schwarber. I mean, I literally, teared up on my birthday at the game where they welcomed him back. I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll see in 2 months if it was the right move. But right now, Jock Peterson looks like a guy that I want because he's actually doing well in the leadoff spot as well. Yeah, man, I'm with you on him. He's going to start turning those singles into doubles or homers, man. Right. And when that happens, I think that's only just going to make the Cubs offense even more scarier.
Right.
So that happened, it was 1-1 going in the fifth. The Cubs had another one off that. I think it was the sac fly.
Yep.
And then, and then we got a couple more runs in the seventh, and in the eighth, I can't remember what happened in the seventh. Do you remember what happened in the seventh for those two runs? Was that, I want to say
there was the Nico Horner single to get on, single or double.
Yes.
I think he doubled actually. And then he on the missed
Hendricks.
the wild pitch by Yachty. Oh, it was a single, and then he got bunted over.
No. I remember now. It was Horner doubled. Then Hendricks sack bunt got him to third, and then I think, or was that a different?
No,
was that the fifth inning? God dang it!
So Horner doubled. Horner singled. Hendricks bunted him over, and then that was when there was the ball in the dirt that Horner took third on, and Yachty threw it into left field, and he scored on that. And then and then Bryant deep doubled to right center field to score.
Thank you. Yes, and then that's when I tweeted, "Let's take a live look at the Chris Bryant sucks crowd."
Shorter and shorter every day.
Yeah, I'm just never gonna forgive the people who gave up on that guy, man. I'm never going to. So yeah, and then in the eighth inning, just so much happened. There wasn't any home runs. It's just the Cardinals walked two guys in with the bases loaded. Rizzo cleared the bases with a double. Javi drove in two. There was just offense coming out the ass in the eighth inning. Eight runs. It was 4-3 going into the eighth inning. I was nervous. I was like, all right, we just got to get to Kimbrel. And then all out of nowhere, it's like Arenado gets the air, which is like crazy to think about. Like Yachty and Arenado getting an air in the same game. What are the odds on that?
Even add Rizzo to that too.
Oh yeah, and Rizzo. I mean, yeah, the Cardinals wouldn't have even had that third run if we wouldn't have had to really talk about the Tommy Nance thing if Rizzo just doesn't bobble the ball there, But yeah, I mean, just offense just came out of, I don't want to say out of nowhere, because I felt like the offense was really good most of the night, like they were giving you good at bats and they weren't really leaving a lot of guys on base. And then just that eighth inning came around. It's like the Cardinals bullpen is trash.
Yes.
You hate to see it. Joe. Like
I closed my eyes.
Why'd you close your eyes?
I have friends that are Cardinals fans. You just hate to see it. You hate to see it. He said he turned the game off in solidarity. I closed my eyes for a little bit. The Cubs.
I wouldn't have done
that. Cubs hitters only struck out 4 times today. That is a recipe for success.
Hell yeah, that's cool and tough, bro. Let's look at. I'm looking at the box score here. So Nico had a double. Nico was great tonight, man. He went 2 for 5 with 3 runs scored. He only left 2 on base. He almost hit one out in the 9th inning, which would have been a nice icing on the cake.
Right.
And I don't know if you saw me tweet it. I was like praying after it became a blowout. I was like, I need a Cub to launch one into Big Mac land on a 3-0 count. And let's get the unwritten rule talk back up again. Because I know those cucks down in St. Louis, they're all about the unwritten rules. It's a way of their life. There's a reason Tony La Russa is beloved there.
Once a Cardinal, always a Cardinal.
Exactly. We didn't get it, but I'm hoping we get something like it. I mean, I'm interested to see what happens tomorrow. I know Martinez hit a couple guys. I don't count Rizzo as one of them because it kind of skimmed him, but I mean, he hit Bryant somewhere like in the quad. And then I guess he accidentally hit Happ because of the way Happ moved away from the ball. Whatever. He was wild, and I don't think the Cubs are going to do anything. But I feel like that story's not done. I think there's going to be more to that eventually, because I wouldn't be surprised if the Cubs accidentally hit someone tomorrow and then the Cardinals will be like, get all riled up.
Right.
I can see it happening, man. I can see it happening. And I'll just watch out on Twitter. I will start slandering the best fans of baseball. I will do it. Anyway, I keep getting off track here. So Horner had a double. Rizzo had a double. Happ had a double. I thought Happ had another good day. He went 3 for 4 with 2 runs scored, which is great to see. He's starting to heat up. I said it on the postgame yesterday with Joey. I was like, if Ian Happ starts playing like last year, Ian Happ, to go with Chris Bryant's MVP season type games, MVP type season, to go with, the consistency of Anthony Rizzo, to go with what you're going to get out of Javi, which is a lot of RBIs and a lot of hits.
Right.
Unfortunately, a lot of strikeouts, and he did walk tonight. I'll give him credit for that.
He did walk so reluctantly.
Yeah. And then, and then Wilson Contreras, he's going to be in there somewhere with Jock Peterson as well. I mean, Ian Happ just adds another dynamic to this offense that honestly just gets me super excited. Like it makes me super excited looking at that lineup, and you're seeing Ian Happ heat up. You're seeing Jock Peterson heat up. And I'm like, oh boy, people think that, it's Bryant, Rizzo, Baez. And it's like, no, this team's got some fucking guys, some fucking
deep,
dogs.
They're deep.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Nico Horner is hitting 350 right now, and he's bet 8 today.
Yeah.
I mean,
and his defense just continues to just
unbelievable.
Just fucking Nico Horner is going to be the fan favorite by the end of the year if he's not already. Like, he just does everything that you love in a baseball player. Plays great defense, gives you a quality at bat. He's probably not going to hit anything over the fence very often, but he will hit the gaps, man.
Oh yeah.
Put the ball in the gaps, and his approach at the plate it literally makes my hair stand up all over my entire body, not just my arm, like literally all of
it. In Chicago, Nick Magical gets a lot of love, deservingly so. But Nico Horner is right there with him. Nico Horner.
I'll be interested to see who leads contact rate in baseball between him and Nico Horner by the end of the year. Right now, Magical has way more at bats than Horner, but once Horner gets to that qualified level, I'll be interested to see where him and Nick Magical land up. Also, Matt Duffy, who has now not played for like 3 games, but it's not qualified. He's not in the qualified section, but he has like a 90% contact rate right now. So you're getting those 2 guys, and then Eric Sogard had a nice hit tonight. I know a lot of people hate him because his wife's fucking crazy. But I mean, the guy gives you a good at bat. He gets hits.
Yeah, the man knows how to hit off the bench. No matter no matter the situation, no matter what inning, the dude knows how to hit off.
I think he does well in his role. He's not a guy you want to start every day. He's a guy that coming off the bench, that's a guy that you want. I don't care what anyone says. Right. The only guy that I'm just kind of like on is David Bodie, but somehow, some way, he goes 1 for 4 tonight with a run scored and 2 RBIs on a walk. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with Matt Duffy because do you know? Like, is he hurt?
Ross said pregame he's dealing with some bruises and just some general soreness. Right. Okay. So so that's the reason why. So he's probably due to be back in the lineup soon. I wouldn't be surprised to see him tomorrow.
I like Bodie as your bench guy more so than playing every day, and I feel like he's just played every game this week. And he'll hit the ball hard, but it's always right at someone.
Right.
And it's always like he'll strike out at the worst times.
Yeah, I mean, the broadcast today showed the Cubs with the hardest hard hit percentage, and the top hitters are Ian Happ, Jason Hayward, and David Bodie. And you're like, well, you look at those guys' numbers with the exception of Ian Happ recently, those are some of the guys with the lowest batting averages. So just some bad luck, but
that is true. And again, I like David Bodie. It's not that I don't want him on the team. I just don't think I think he's really good as just like your depth piece that can come and play defensively, maybe give you 1 or 2 at bats, in a certain game that could get really wild or whatever. Kind of like tonight's game. Like, this would have been a good game for him to come in later if they had started Matt Duffy. Of course, I didn't know that he was hurt. But, that all said, he is great defensively, and he has nice plays out there third every day. So things could be worse. If David Bodie is the only guy not hitting in the lineup, I can't complain too much, man.
Right. I'm right there with you.
Right.
He much like Sogard too. He's in his career has been really good as a pinch hitter. So that's just a guy you like to have around.
Right. Yeah, for sure, man. Well, let's see. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anyone. When you mentioned the Chris Bryant RBI double adds to his total of extra base hits, I'm pretty sure he leads baseball in them still, or at least the National League.
Shohei Ohtani overtook him for the MLB lead, but I'm pretty sure he's first in the NL.
I know Arenado's like right up there with him.
Yeah, he was right there too.
Yeah, so I think I mentioned everyone. Rizzo cleared the bases with his double. He went 2 for 3. He's starting to heat up. His batting average is up to 265. OPS 836. You know how it is, man. Always slow in April, and he gets it going in May. And I mean,
exactly.
It is what I honestly like. I should apologize because I feel like it was like a week and a half ago or something, maybe even earlier than that. I was like, I wasn't slandering Anthony Rizzo. I was just kind of like, I was just saying, he's playing like a 5-year, $70 million player right now. And ever since then, he's been playing a lot better, and he's been driving in runs, and he's getting hits, and he's getting extra base hits. And, I'm happy when that happens, honestly.
Right.
Like, I want Rizzo to play like a guy who deserves a 5-year, $100 million deal. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man. Anything else in this game before we preview tomorrow's game?
No, let's get into tomorrow's game.
Okay. Well, I will say one more time, it was beautiful to go into St. Louis tonight and just pound that godforsaken city into oblivion. It was just the Cubs didn't go to St. Louis last year, so it's actually kind of nice to go there and like just take care of business. And I mean, I wish they would have scored those 8 runs in like the 3rd inning, so I could have just been like easy peasy the entire game. But it was just awesome to watch them just really make the Cardinal fans miserable. I mean, I think I heard some boos there after a couple of those walks with the bases loaded. It was beautiful, man. It was absolutely beautiful.
Yep. Can't complain.
Yeah. So with that said, let's move to tomorrow's game. Like I kind of said earlier, Adbert Alzolay starting for the Cubs. He comes in with a 2-3 record, 4.62 ERA with 39 strikeouts. He pitched on my birthday on Monday, allowed 3 runs over 5 innings. In the win, let's see, struck out 3 and walked none, which is probably a good sign that he didn't walk any. He has 22 strikeouts to just 2 walks in his last 4 starts, which is interesting. I didn't even realize that. So he's going to go up against Miles Michaelis, who actually hasn't pitched since 2019. He didn't pitch at all last year. Do you know? Did he sit out last year, or was he hurt last year?
Joe? He was hurt. He was hurt. So yeah, he didn't make any appearances.
Yeah,
I think it was a shoulder. I think it was a shoulder thing.
You hate to see that after they give him like a 5-year contract. You really do.
Right.
But yeah, man, Miles Michaelis is making his first start since 2019. If he's healthy, I mean, he was really good with the Cardinals in 19. He was a big reason why they went to the NLCS. I think this is a bad position for the Cardinals to put him in. I think they should have brought him in against, like, I don't know, Pittsburgh this week. But I don't mind it. I think this is
not at all.
This is a good spot for the Cubs, I think, to kind of jump on this guy. Let's see. I'm reading what it says on MLB.com. The right-hander had surgery on his forearm last July that kept him out for the season. Then he strained his right shoulder this spring, but he hit a homer during his last rehab start alongside the shutout Frape. So apparently he should be hitting and not pitching. It sounds like he's just really become injury-prone since signing that that 5-year contract extension. You hate to see that, man. You really do. Pour one out. Let's see. Let me read off a few. So the Cubs, what are they? Let's read some. We got Ian Happ is hitting 385 against this guy in 13 at bats. He got 2 RBIs. Nico Horner 333, but just 3 at bats. So I think that's 1 for 3. Anthony Rizzo in 21 at bats. He's batting 381 against them. Eric Sogard 667. Just 3 bats, so 2 for 3. I think that's what it is. So no one really sticks out except for Rizzo and Ian Happ as far as success against Miles Michaelis. As far as Alzolay, the Cardinals, no one has faced him more than 3 times, so they really don't know him. That means they've probably only faced him 1 time, or it might have been in like a relief appearance in past seasons. So I think it's kind of on the same on both sides. Like the Cardinals don't really know Alzolay. They probably haven't seen that slider that he's really developed and perfected. And, you don't really know what you're going to get out of Michaelis. He might just come out and look like Shelby Miller when he was coming up in April, hadn't pitched in a couple years, and just walked everyone until the Cubs came out and got him. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think key for tomorrow to start is score early and put pressure on whatever starter.
Right. Get to the bullpen. Like you said, you don't know what the Cardinals are going to get from Michaelis. I'm sure he's going to be on some sort of pitch count. And, the sooner we can get to that bullpen, like we saw tonight, they are vulnerable. They didn't go with any of their leverage guys tonight. But, if the bullpen comes in the 4th inning, we're going to be seeing guys other than their leverage guys. So that's definitely the goal. Alzolay, he's been bit by the home run quite a few times. So if he can keep the ball in the ballpark, man, I talk about another guy with confidence on the mound in himself. His ERA is over 4, which you don't like to see. But part of that is he's not going deep into games. So he's given up 2-3 runs and only going, into the 5th inning. So that ERA is going to spike. So the sooner he can get deeper into games, part of that is Ross has to let the leash loose a little bit. So
that sounds like your biggest gripe with David Ross.
It is because the bullpen has been outstanding, but at some point you're going to reach the diminishing returns. So we just need to. Our starters are trending in the right direction. Even Trevor Williams, asterisk, but.
Yeah.
So at some point we're going to have to let him go. Otherwise, we're going to see, we're going to see guys like Tommy Nance, who we've only seen 3 times, face Paul Goldschmidt in a high leverage spot, which worked for us tonight. It's not going to work out for us the rest of the season. Yeah. So that's definitely something we're going to have to see our starting pitcher go deeper into games, which I think we are going to see as they progress, because Kyle Hendricks is not going to pitch a 5 ERA over 162. Jake Arrieta, you know what you're going to get out of Jake Arrieta.
Yeah.
Zach Davies is starting to come back to level. Trevor Williams is definitely still kind of trending. He's trending upward, but not.
He earned himself a little bit of the leash back in his last appearance.
And you could see when he was taken out of the game. I think it was yesterday.
He pitched yesterday. Yeah.
He was upset that he got taken out. I was just as upset. We need to see what they can do before we really can decide what this team is. And as we're saying, this team can win games, especially in this division. So
yeah, I mean, I just talked about how the bullpen is so stacked right now that it's like you don't feel like you're overusing anyone. But at the same time, I do agree with you. We do need to get more length out of the starters. And outside of Kyle Hendricks, Albert Alzolay is a guy that I feel like can be that guy. I think the Cubs see him as part of the future. I think the Cubs see him as a top 3 of the rotation type guy. And you said home run's been the biggest problem. I would agree. I remember in Cleveland, he probably had his best start of the year. Ended up taking the loss because he gave up 2 homers. Ended up being 3 runs. The Cubs lost 3-2 in that game, and it was one of the most infuriating losses of the year.
Right.
But and then in his last start on my birthday on Monday, I thought he was okay, even though I was in the stands. I didn't think that there was, he wasn't that shaky. I was actually kind of surprised it took him out as early as they did. But again, I was in the stands, and it's different when you're in the stands compared to whenever you're watching at home on TV and seeing everything so clearly. So I don't know. But yeah, man, I agree with you on all that. We need to get more length on the starting pitching and stuff like that. So before we get out of here, let's get a fly W player.
You kind of hinted at it with Anthony Rizzo against Miles Mikolas in his career. I think this is just where you see Rizzo shine. These are important games early in the season. I think we're going to see him, a couple extra base hits, hopefully a homer. But he's trending in the right direction, and he's facing another righty who does not fare well against lefties. So I think we're going to see Rizzo pop a couple extra base hits tomorrow.
Yeah, no, like I said, I think he's batting like 381. Ian Happ was the other one. As everyone knows, if you've listened to the podcast, I always take Chafin as my guy because he is just the most cool and tough guy on the Cubs. It's part of a joke, whatever. If I had to take a position player, though, I'll take Ian Happ tomorrow. He's the other guy that's hit well against Miles Mikolas. I mean, I didn't mention Chris Bryant. He's batting 211 against him. I could take Chris Bryant every day, man.
Right.
But I'll take Ian Happ if I have to take a position player, I would take him. So, yeah, man. Any more thoughts before we get out of here about this? I do want to mention on Sunday. It's Sunday Night Baseball, so it's Zach Davies against Adam Wainwright. I feel like that's kind of a toss-up as well. So I just want to emphasize that tonight's win is so huge going into the next two games because you had your ace, your for sure guy, and you got the W. Now these next two are kind of a toss-up. I feel like Adam Wainwright's literally been playing my entire life. I feel like he's 60 years old or some shit. And the Cubs in the past haven't been good against him. So I don't know what they're gonna get out of him on Sunday. So I feel like tomorrow going up against a guy like Mikolas is where the Cubs need to get the next win in the series and then go for the sweep. And if they don't get the sweep, we'll live because I'm all about winning 2 out of 3 at least. But I would take a sweep. But I just wanted to emphasize again how big of a win tonight is, and you keep that momentum going now. They won 2 of 3 in Detroit. They win 3 of 4 against the Nationals, win the first game tonight. Vibes are peaking. Vibes are increasing still. Everything's good, man. I'm just really excited that we're like, I did not see this coming after the April we got, bro. Did not see it.
Yeah. And with the way the starting pitching was, Cubs had a historically bad start to the year offensively. You knew that stuff wasn't going to continue. You just didn't know how high it was going. He didn't know what it was going to level out to.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of fun. Like you said, it was the most important game of the 3-game series was tonight. Get that first win with our best pitcher on the mound, set the tone, and ahead of facing Mikolas tomorrow. The Cardinals have no idea what they're going to get from him tomorrow.
Yeah.
So the more we can see from that bullpen, the better it's going to fare for us.
So. Right. Especially with that high ass walk rate. You know what I mean?
Right.
All right. Well, with that said, I want to remind everyone to head on over to ontapsportsnet.com to get all your Chicago sports needs, from podcasts, articles, beer reviews, whatever you need. Got all kinds of podcasts on the network related to every sport team in Chicago. So go check those out. You can follow us at Cubbies on Tap on Twitter and Instagram. We are the official Cubs podcast of the On Tap Sportsnet network. If you didn't put 2 and 2 together, I'd hope you did. And you can follow me on Twitter at Cody on Tap. You can follow Joe at Joe Maris. Yeah, man. I got nothing else. So let's get out of here the only way we know how, man.
All right. Let's go Cubs.
Let's go Cubs.